What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Money. I'm Nikolay Timoshchuk Jr. and today I'm going to talk about how my house paid me $50,000 in about 4 weeks. It's pretty crazy, it's almost unreal, and you're probably thinking, how could I do this too? I want $50,000 in 4 weeks. People do. They make that kind of money. It's crazy, right? Man, imagine making 50 grand every single month for the rest of your life. You're going to be pretty set. That's what, $600,000 a year? Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do that. I'm going to tell you exactly the steps that I took to get to that point as well and how it can actually be accomplished. But 50 grand, 4 weeks, in my bank account. Let me tell you exactly how you can do that for yourself, but it takes a lot of hard work. So if you don't like hard work, go ahead and click off this video because you're not gonna like it. And I'm gonna jump right into those different little steps of how you can make this happen as well. Now, first things first, I do wanna talk about what if you actually did make $50,000 in 4 weeks? What would you do with it? Would you spend it? Would you invest it? Would you just be blowing it, doing crazy kinds of stuff with it? How would you see yourself holding $50,000 in 4 weeks, depending on what you make right now? That may not be what you make every month. That may not be, enough. That may not, you may make $1 million a month. I don't know if you just ran across this video and you make all kinds of money, like 50 grand a month. Who cares about that, right? But if you don't make money that close, if you make 50 grand a year, or if you make $30,000 a year and someone gave you $50,000 for 1 month of work, what would you do with it? How do you handle that amount of money? Imagine winning the lottery and someone just giving you that amount of money tomorrow. What do you actually do with it? Drop a comment below and let me know, what's that number amount that you would actually like to see yourself make? What's that salary you actually want to make? How much do you want to make a year? How much do you want to make a month or weekly? What is it for you? I'd like to see what the subscribers of this channel and the viewers of this video think about that. Like, what do you want to make a month and what seems applicable to you to have a good quality of life? Or are you just all about the money and you just want to make a bunch of money? Let me know what that number is to you below. But I gotta keep moving to get to how I made $50,000 in 4 weeks, because that's why you're here. Now, before we move on, let me go ahead and ask you with this amazing commercial to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell, turn on your post notifications, make sure you hit that like button, that share button, and drop a comment below so I know exactly what y'all want to talk about as I make more videos. Without further ado, let's get back to what you're trying to learn about. So sorry for this interruption. Now, of course, the second thing I want to talk about, how is it even possible to make $50,000 in 1 month from your house? How does that happen? Is someone paying me all kinds of money for rent? No, it's called equity. And what is equity? That's what's returned to the person after liabilities and everything else are taken care of. So let's say you own a house and you've been paying it off for 10 or 15 years. You've built equity in that home. Let's say you actually built your own home and you've put sweat equity into it. What does that even mean? That means you did work. That means you actually paid yourself, right? You didn't actually pay yourself, but once you sell the house, you get that money back. For instance, with my home, me, my brothers, my dad, a lot of people helped me on my house. So I was able, to put in a lot of sweat equity after my normal job, doing what I was doing as a teacher and making that moment, when I lead up to this point, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years later, or 15 years later, once I pay it off completely, that sweat equity comes to who? It comes to me. It goes into my bank account. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I could make 50 grand in 4 weeks off of my house over the years and what that even looks like. But a lot of people don't even understand the point of equity and what that means when actually owning your own home, because most people are leasing or moving around so much that they don't want to own a home, and that's perfectly fine if you're on the move constantly. But being able to own your own home and actually building that equity within yourself is actually what gets you ahead when it comes to selling your home. When it's time to move, you have cha-ching, 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 insert all those sounds, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you can actually build equity in your own home if you own it. Now, in my case with my house and how I was able to get this $50,000 is called a HELOC. That's H-E-L-O-C. It's a home equity line of credit. So it's basically like a huge credit card, right? The bank goes, okay, do you have a mortgage on your house? You say more than likely, yes, I do. Most people do have a mortgage on their home. Okay, so they'll go, what is the value of that mortgage? Let's say you paid it all the way down to $100,000. Well, they go, okay, what is the value of your actual home? And they get an appraisal out on your home and it comes back at $200,000. So there's $100,000 of equity built in for you right there. The value of the home is $200,000. You've paid off $100,000. So that leaves a line of credit of $100,000. Most banks will only loan about 85% of that, right? They're not going to give you that full amount. They're not going to say, okay, no worries, because then once you sell the house, there's no kind of money left over at that point. And they're trying to, mitigate any risk on their end. And so you get about 85% of that loan to value, and you can go do whatever you want with that money. I don't know how all banks work, but the banks that I deal with locally in Chattanooga, I'm able to get a HELOC, that home equity line of credit, huge credit card pretty much, and I can do whatever I want with that money. But there are interest payments, right? Once you take that money, you not only have to pay that money back, you have to pay interest on that money. And as long as that balance is out there, as long as you're using that home equity line of credit, you have to pay interest back. But you can take that $50,000 and do whatever you want with it, which is what I'm about to talk about in the next thing. Now, I don't recommend everybody going out and getting a HELOC, but right now with how the economy is going, money is really, really, really cheap. What does that mean? How's money cheap? Borrowing money is really, really, really easy right now. You have low percentages on interest and things like that. That's why you see a lot of construction booming. That's why you see the housing market going absolutely insane. There's almost no houses on the market when you're dealing with certain cities. And that's why people are getting loan after loan after loan, is because they have that equity and they're able to get those loans because money is so cheap right now. Interest payments are as low as possible. What's happened in the world has helped people be able to borrow more money right now. So guess what people are doing? They're borrowing more money. But what can you do with that money? What can I do with that $50,000? I can take that money and invest it somewhere where no matter how much interest I'm paying on that, let's say it's at a 4% rate or whatever, I can go somewhere and invest with a 10% return yearly, and guess what? I'm making 6% on my money. Do I still have to pay that money back? Absolutely. But what I can do is from that investment, take that money, pay off that interest, and keep paying back that loan value, that actual balance of that money that I got that didn't belong to me. It belongs to the bank. Once I actually make that investment, do my research, make sure it's a good investment, I can actually make 10% or 15% or 20%, whatever kind of investment you find for yourself. And you can not only pay off that interest, you can pay off that balance that you borrowed, and now you're making money while you sleep. You're making money however you do that, whether it's the stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it's, your buddy started his own business or whatever it is. You can figure that out for yourself, but definitely make sure you do the research. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm just here to teach you and educate you on how you can actually get money out of things and what equity even means. It's very important that you understand these things as you're trying to get through life, because guess what? You might own a home one day. You might want to start investing. You might want to do these things to get ahead, and this is how you can actually do it if you understand how the process works. Now, the biggest thing I will tell you to do is be smart. Do your research. Don't just start trying to take out, HELOCs and second mortgages and doing all these things, because guess what? Once you sell your house, it will be nice to get, a $50,000 payout. How amazing would that be if you only owe $150,000 on your house and you sell it for $200K, right? But if you take out that HELOC, if you take out a second mortgage, once you sell that home, there's nothing to show for it. Then you walk with nothing, especially if you're just spending it on cars and jewelry and things that really don't matter to you. But if you take that money and put it into investments, if you put it into other real estate, that yield you a higher percentage on that investment, more than that actual interest payment, now you're actually stacking your money and building your wealth at that point. Do your research. Be smart. Don't just start diving into investments because somebody sells you a good little story. Make sure you take the time to figure out if this actually works for you, because this is how you can do it. And this is how I made $50,000 in 4 weeks off of my house. Why? Because it takes about 4 weeks to process all that paperwork. Anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks is what it will take for you to get your own HELOC or your second mortgage or whatever it is, especially with the market booming right now. It might even take a little longer, but that's why I say in 4 to 6 weeks, you could also make $50,000 if you have equity in a home that you own and you actually want to do something like that. Now, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something about what equity even means, how you can get it, and what ownership even looks like, what you can do with that money, and how you can start investing if you actually want to. Now I'm gonna have to ask you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell, turn on your post notifications, hit that like button, hit that share button, and drop a comment below telling me exactly what you guys want to learn about. Thank you so much for watching. I love every single one of you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.